Hi, my name is Mark Monlux, and you are watching Epic Sketch Time for Tuesday, October 25th. I do a web comic called The Comic Critic and another one called The Return of Stickman. And tonight I am joined by, please introduce yourself.
Crystal Rollins. I'm one of the people that runs Wayward Studios. I have created comics like Aspect and Skyborn. And tonight I'm working on a new mini comic called Light and Shadow.
And my name is Pat McEwen. I do a comic called The Devil and Mr. Gandhi. You can read it at devilandgandhi.com.
Patrick, before you came on, Crystal and I were comparing notes on a wonderful little show called the Bellingham Comic Con. Bellingham is just a few miles away from the Canadian border in Washington State. And as far as a one-day show goes, it has an extremely small venue, but a pretty high attendance.
And it seems like people are actually willing to spend more money on indie stuff there too. I've always done really well at that show, actually.
They come with fat pockets, and they linger, and they just empty their pockets.
And they actually like independent art. I get significantly less people asking if I've worked on a DC title or if I would draw Wonder Woman for them or stuff like that.
And I see we're joined by Bill. Bill, will you introduce yourself?
I am Bill. I do a cartoonist and illustrator, and I do a comic strip called Rhapsodies.
Thanks, Bill.
I'm sorry, was my audio on?
Yeah, your audio is on.
Yeah, your audio's on.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
We're just falling into quick conversational lulls right away.
Okay.
I'm trying to get this situated on my printer correctly. 13.2. I think that'll print.
Bill, tell us about your window.
Covered in plastic.
Why is it covered in plastic?
Because someone threw a rock at it at 10 o'clock this morning.
Oh, that sucks.
It was either that or a crow had an accident, but the end result is the same.
Ooh. I guess it's better than the crow because at least you don't have crow parts and gizzards in your house.
Exactly. I mean, I have no
Crow soup.
I have, as I said, I went out and looked. I didn't see it. I probably waited too long to see if anybody was running away really fast. And while there's plenty of rocks on the alleyway, it didn't look like any of them were quite big enough to have the right heft to pull this off. The handyman, the building handyman theorized that people like to throw things up onto the roof of this building and might have missed this time.
What do they toss up on the roof of the building?
What
No
don't
idea.
they toss up on the roof of the building?
When he was talking, I assumed he meant bottles, but I didn't see any shrapnel of that respect either. So either way, it made for a nice day being completely off my groove, being distracted by that, then the whole waiting for the cops thing, and people putting a ladder outside of my apartment to put plastic on my window. And trying to figure out how productive I'm going since tomorrow the contractors show up. But at least it was very clear to everyone that it wasn't my fault.
Well, that's good. So you're, I'm going to start sharing the screen so people don't have to look at my bald spot. Share screen.
So am I the only person who's having trouble with that?
With rocks getting thrown in their windows?
You know, for some reason,
What?
it's not picking up my my second monitor.
You're not getting screen share? Let me try.
Well, normally, when I do, when I have my,
Oh yeah, I'm getting the same thing where oh no, it's seeing both of mine. Never mind. You can see my lovely blue line pages and my scribbly thumbnails.
I'll try it now.
So scribbly.
Strange.
Still nothing.
Normally I can split screens, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to split screens tonight. So I'm going to just put everything on the same screen and not actually see everybody's face when I'm when I'm drawing away, which is what I normally can do. I had a client today call me with a bunch of emergency little projects. So I made 500.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's design work and it's not illustration, and I don't like doing that. But hey, he hands me a lot of work. He normally hands me a lot of storyboard stuff. So if he needs help on this other stuff, I just don't say no to him anymore. Besides, he and I get into the quick groove. It's not like my ISP provider, who seems to not understand what I'm asking of them. Okay, let's.
Okay, mine just started working. At least I thought it did.
Is anyone seeing anything on my screen?
I'm seeing a lot of gray with a title
Wait a
bar.
minute, unless
Yeah, but is it not showing up? It's not showing up, is it? I wonder if that's just a little quirk that happens. Casto has problems with that too. Let's see if I can get it to work one more time.
It's funny. I picked up Over the Garden Wall in the at the library, looking at it with fresh eyes and being utterly blown away by the backgrounds.
So are you guys seeing anything on my screen now, or is it still a big gray?
Just
Still
a
a big
gray
gray square.
Well, I guess everyone's going to be seeing the top of my head tonight then. I will hold up my sketch I did for Drawloween.
Ah,
Nice.
Thank you very much. It's a homage to Edgar Allan Poe's The Black Cat.
yes. One of the better ones.
At first, I thought it might have been. I don't remember the name of the story, but the one about the guy who walls the other guy in alive.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Where is
He
it?
certainly had this whole fear of being buried alive thing going on.
Yeah, I mean, for a while, I was with half of his stories, I was beginning to wonder if anybody ever checked for a pulse in those days.
There's actual historical stories about people actually being mistaken for dead and buried alive, so it might have, in part, been inspiration from the times.
I actually did once see a patent for a bell system.
I've seen that too. Yeah. Is it like a little string so that it would ring a bell above ground in case you got...
Is that your friend wanting attention?
Yeah, he is a suck-up.
Yeah, I saw him sneaking around behind you before you changed the angle.
He does that.
But anyway, I was pretty pleased with mine today. Just a second.
So Stowe and I belong to a group called the Claw, the Cartoonist League of Absurd Washingtonians. And it is tradition that our group, every October meeting, we carve pumpkins. And we used to have contests at our events, but as someone, a fairly new member, was pointing out to us, it's always the top four guys who are always winning. And it gets very discouraging for the people who aren't the top four guys to participate. So we stopped having contests.
Oh.
Instead, we just show each other our work. Now, I remember when there would be a lot of people coming to our events, and it wasn't just the top four guys, but after a while, it tends to just be group members showing up on a weekly basis.
Yeah. I mean, speaking as someone who's gone to a couple of claw events and then not gone back. For me, the problem is Tacoma. Like, I'm not familiar with it, and it's like the time of night you guys have those. It's like an hour drive, and then I gotta find parking, and I end up getting home pretty late. And for me, I work pretty early, so I have to get up at like 5 a.m.
That's
So
the
it's
reason.
pretty rough on me.
That's one of the reasons I've never. Oh, and incidentally, this was mine for today.
Let's see.
Are you guys showing off Inktober?
Yes.
Give
Well, I
me-
am. He's doing the draw Halloween thing.
Is Drawloween just thematic Inktober, or is it something else?
Drawloween is any type of media, whereas Inktober is strictly ink. And on Inktober, there's a suggested theme, whereas in Drawloween, there's a specific calendar of that you're supposed to follow.
One's a suggestion and one's a must.
Yeah, so
Well,
So
maybe
this is
I-
the one I did today
Yeah.
of an ibis.
Oh, nice.
And then this is actually the one I did yesterday, which I'm super happy with.
Finch of some sort.
I don't know. I've been trying to get better at drawing animals, so I've been literally just typing in random animal in Google image searches.
Oh,
And
cool.
this day I wrote bird and then looked at the Google image searches it gave back. But yeah, it does look like some kind of finch with the little like 30-degree beak. It's very finchy.
yes.
Could be one of the Galapagos ones. I mean,
There's a bunch around here that we get that look very similar. He was like mostly brown with like darker brown sort of scooped models in
Yeah.
his leaves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which
There's
looks like a lot of the ones that show up around here, so it could be.
I'm a big bird watcher, and we get all sorts of finches over here. Most of them are house finches.
Mhm.
Ah,
The males will have either a little either yellow, red, or pink feathers around their heads. Just kind of
Oh.
some random modeling. Whereas the
fine.
lady finches are just kind of a brown color.
This is the punk that keeps bugging me.
Oh,
Little
And
white.
you can tell how much of a sweetheart that they both are because they let me sit there and pick them up by the armpits.
hmm
Okay, now you gotta go now. I don't need you drooling all over me. Come on. No, he gets happy, he'll start drooling.
literally?
Yes, it's
Oh, wow. I never
it's
knew
like
cats did that.
profuse. And then he's actually the second cat I've met that does that when he's happy.
My
He never purrs, he just drools.
my neighbor's cat was a purr and a
No.
drooler.
No.
But yeah, when he was
Sorry.
he was real big time.
Ow.
I'm kind of relieved that none of my cats were droolers.
It's cute, it's funny, it's super annoying to actually have it be your cat.
Now, when I had a Dane, drool was a fact of life. You had to have your drool rag with you because you just never knew.
When you had what?
The Great Dane.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And certainly after dinner, you had to make sure you cleaned up his face, otherwise he'd dribble it all over the living room. And
I didn't think Danes were quite as famous.
after they
Mastiffs,
eat, they've got a lot of jowls there, and they don't mean to, but they'll takes a while for it to drain out.
And they're a bigger dog in general, so like the quantity of said drool is just enormous.
Years later, even after he was gone, I was still cleaning drools off the wall because he would shake his head,
Oh.
and then the splatter. If you didn't clean up his drool, he'd shake his head. That got rid of it. But the windows, the ceiling, the stove,
Doggy drool kake.
don't even say that word.
Oh, God. I'm sorry. That took me a half second to realize what you were talking about.
And
you have
that
a
gets
sick
me not invited back to other sketch groups.
I did a Return a Stick Man where I used that word in a strip, and my mom wasn't familiar with it, so
Oh no.
I put it up on the internet.
Oh God.
So my lesson there was never use words in your car tube strip that your mom would look up on the internet.
Yeah.
I even did a strip about that.
It's 8 o'clock.
Boy, Patrick's really quiet tonight.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's been a long day where you're at. So tell us, are you going to be hosting an earlier one next week?
I don't know. I guess it depends on. I mean, for me, it's the idea of perhaps if enough people are interested in an earlier session, I could host that session and possibly not show up to the later session because it is kind of late for me. It's
I
11:01.
personally wouldn't mind doing this session earlier.
What's
So,
that?
There are times when I wish I could do this session earlier because I have a hard time making it every week.
Sure.
So I was kind of looking forward to, oh wow, I can do an early session today, and I don't have to worry about doing the later one. And then you turn around and say, no, I'm not going to do one. I was like, oh man. And the only reason we are doing this tonight is because my wife stayed home from work today. She was supposed to go into work. She had a headache, so she stayed home and was able to cook me dinner. Because we try to limit our nights out. And because tomorrow is a claw night, we'll be eating out then. So we usually eat out on Mondays, and that's our night out for the week. And then every other week I've got a claw thing, and sometimes we eat out, and sometimes I eat dinner late.
So are you saying you can't cook, or you're just saying you didn't have time to cook and do what you had to do tonight?
Well, I'll say that my wife won't let me cook.
Oh.
She won't eat my cooking. I think I'm a perfectly decent cook, and there was a time when she didn't know how to cook salmon or steak, but
Cinnamon and steak together?
salmon,
Oh.
not cinnamon. Yes, cooking a seasoning. There we go. But now she's a most excellent. She will let me cook the salmon sometimes. But she likes to do all the cooking. And she's a bit of a fussy eater. So we tend to have a very short list of restaurants that we go to.
Ah.
And she gets off the bus, and if it's been a bad bus ride, she's kind of nauseous, and she doesn't want to really think about what to have for dinner because, she's not that hungry from the nausea. So I'll start suggesting things, and then she'll start saying no, no, no. But I know that as soon as we get home, she's going to put her feet up and say, I don't want to cook. And next thing you know, I'm out picking up takeout. And then that's a whole nother thing. So we got some rules. I can make 2 suggestions, and then I'm going to choose a place if she doesn't like either of those. If she doesn't like the place I choose, then we go home. But she needs to come up with what the takeout is going to be or start cooking within 20 minutes.
Sounds like a challenge.
It sounds more like a game show than
I know. That's like Iron
cooking
Chef Home Edition.
When you've been married this long,
Yeah.
some scenarios
Rules start forming.
because, oh my God, the whole, what do you want? I don't know. What do you want? That doesn't fly after year 12. So,
I'll keep that in mind since I'm coming up on year 12. Well, and it's the opposite thing with us. Like, my husband's the fussy eater. Unfortunately, I'm the one who actually is willing to cook, so I get it from both sides sometimes. Okay, where's that muscle? Who's...
movies.
Lilies?
Yeah.
Movie. So I just got through watching My Darling Clementine, which I haven't watched in nearly 20 years.
Uh-huh.
And
it's part of a trilogy, is it not, Mark?
is it?
I think it is. I think She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, My Darling Clementine, and some other movie all are like they go together.
Oh, what's the other one? The other one's on my Fort Laramie. And they're old.
Well, let's see.
Are they Frank Capra films? No. Who did those?
They're either John Ford or
Yeah, John Ford. That's who I'm thinking of. I remembered Fort Laramie because there is a radio show called Fort Laramie with Raymond Burr. And if you're on the internet, you can look up Radio Antioch out of Chicago. And between 3 and 4, they play Westerns. Everything from Have Gun Will Travel, Fort Laramie, to the Frisco Kid and the Will Rogers, Red Ryder, Gunsmoke. When I'm drawing, I like listening to radio shows,
Mm-hmm.
old ones.
I like to listen to podcasts when I'm working on something really visual.
What are some of your favorite podcasts?
Snap Judgment's really good.
Oh, don't know that.
Oh, I know Snap Judgment. I've listened to that. That's off NPR, right?
Yep. I basically just go down the NPR list and I will listen to almost anything they produce. It's really sad. Though actually Snap Judgment's not under NPR's umbrella anymore. It's now WBUR. Yeah, I think they they lost their contract with NPR or something, because the same time they started a social, like a Kickfunder. God, I can't talk tonight.
Charter.
It's like GoFundMe. It's like a Patreon, but it's some other site, and I can't remember which service they're using because it's one that I've never seen before. But they started like a Patreon thing where they're getting funding every month from the community. And around the same time they started that, they suddenly were announcing their WBR, and they're not NPR anymore when you listen to their podcast recordings. So I think maybe NPR just didn't up for another season or something.
I like listening to Wait, Don't Tell Me.
That one's dangerous for me to listen to at work. I laugh out loud too much when I'm listening to that one. Like, I can't listen to that one if I'm actually in public anymore.
Oh yeah, Paula Poundstone is hilarious on that show.
I actually listen to a bunch of like data shows or like historical shows. I like stuff you missed in history class, stuff your mom never told you. I listened to one called What's the Point? I listened to Hidden Brain. Modern Love is really good. That one's actually like a story podcast.
I haven't listened to many. There was, Night Vale, of course. And there was a guy doing Lovecraft trivia that I liked for a while.
Do either of you guys listen to amateur podcasts? People, stuff that they just do in their living rooms? Because I've done interviews for a number of amateur podcasts.
Yeah, no, I can't think of any that I listen to that are like amateur level, unfortunately. In part because I just haven't really come across any. Oh, another really dorky one I listen to. I actually love Planet Money to bits. I love that show. Like if it shows up in my new podcast list, I'll make a point of listening to that one before almost anything else.
I listened to the first couple of episodes of Planet Money back when it first came out, and I just didn't really get into it.
No, maybe give some of their newer episodes a try, because yeah, they've definitely gotten better over the years. Like they're better at like making the episodes more concise. They're using more of their different people, so there's some nice variety of voices in there. I don't know. I'm partially I like the data set. Like I know that sounds super dorky, but
I'm trying to remember the name of the NPR show where they do American short stories.
Oh gosh.
Life.
Yeah, This Modern Life and the StoryCorps?
No, this is actually American short stories, fiction.
Oh, okay.
They'll go in and take a famous short story and they'll just read it. They have famous actors doing this all the time.
Oh.
Oh, cool. Like some of the stuff that sounds...
Yeah,
it almost reminds me of that like fantasy theater that used to go on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one thing I've been enjoying because of the Halloween season is listening to some of my old favorites, reading Edgar Allan Poe. I have yet to hear anybody top Vincent Price doing Mask of the Red Death.
Now, the New Yorker has this thing where they have writers read other writers. And so it's, I used to have a subscription to the New Yorker, and I got it mainly because I loved reading the short stories. I think my wife's not a big short story fan, but I like reading short story anthologies, as much as I like any other type of book. And listening to writers read other writers, and then talk to the New Yorker editor about why they chose that particular writer and how they felt influenced by them, and if they had any meetings with them or stuff of that nature. It's always fun listening to.
That sounds pretty cool.
And again, my memory's failing me, and I can't remember the name of what that show is. But hey, you should be able
Yeah,
to by seeking out New Yorker.
that would definitely be worth checking out. Because I mean, if you listen to as many audiobooks as I do, you quickly become fans of individual readers.
You know who I loved listening to? The actor who was in the Kochak series, Darren McGovern.
Okay.
He there's this writer who would do the sort of like almost a Mickey Spillane type stories about this guy who works on the beach, sort of a beach bum, but lived on a sailboat, but would do sort of like independent work or act like a private eye. I'm trying to remember what the name of that author is and what that series was called, but I loved listening to his voice. I listened to the whole, even though I'd read all the books, just listening to the whole series of them all over again, just because I liked the way his voice sounded. What's kind of hard for me is to listen to those book narrations where they're using like 3 different actors.
When they're doing it like
I've done so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather listen to one actor fake an English accent, than multiple.
Guys.
No, I know what you mean when they do it.
Guys. I'm going to show you something real quick.
Oh, that looks nice. Show that again.
I'm still holding it up.
Yes.
But you have to top while you hold it up. Otherwise,
Oh, so that it automatically swaps to me. Gotcha.
yes.
So yeah. Panel 2 of the page I'm working on.
Very nice.
Hey, Crystal,
Yeah?
how are you applying the whites on top? Are you using a ink pen, or are you just brushing it on?
Sakura Jelly Roll.
Hold up the
Ah.
pen.
So it's going to be really hard to see because it's actually printed like white on the clear casing.
Oh, wonderful.
But it's, yeah, those Sakura Jelly Rolls that have been like the brand of jelly rolls for basically the last 15 years.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just the basic white jelly roll. I know they actually make one now that's, it's like extra thick ink. They actually call it like a dimensional jelly roll pen. But that one you have to special order if you can't find it in like a scrapbooking section. Whereas these you can often find even at like grocery stores sometimes. So they're kind of handy.
Oh.
But yeah, these actually work pretty well. I'm having a little trouble because I'm using actually a mix of pens. I've got Stettler's, I've got a Zebra brush, I've got a Sakura brush, and I've got some no-name brush pens from Daiso that I'm actually mixing together. And some of them seem to like liquefy the jelly roll even when the ink's dry. When I go over it with the jelly roll, it like smears together and turns gray. And some of the pen, it goes over just fine. Not surprisingly, it goes over Sakura ink with no issue. Which you kind of hope, since they're the same brand.
So I'm going to show some markers because I do graphic recording, which means you have to do some really big markers, bigger than your normal Sharpies, and you can't really use the markers you get at Home Depot because they're just not big enough and they dry out. And these are called Neulands.
Neulands?
And they're kind of, Neuland, that's
Huh.
Oh, I think I've seen those.
Neuland. They're made in Germany. And what's really nice about these markers is they've got these black ones that will not smear the color when you put them down. They're formulated to do that. And
Joyland.
without the really nice thing is these things are refillable.
Cool.
You can get where's my
So I thought you did a lot of your graphic messaging with dry erase boards. Are those dry erase markers or are those standard markers?
This is not dry erase stuff. This is when you would put stuff on a 4x8 piece of paper.
Huh.
They do make a version of dry erase markers, but basically these are permanent ones. So I get the big sheet of paper in a roll that's 4 feet wide. Get a board that I make that folds out to 4x8. Put that up on a couple of easels, and then draw on it all day long at an event. And I just started doing that, as opposed to doing things on an 8.5 by 11. But when you do something that big, you need really big markers. So here's the ink recharger, and what this thing is, it's got a needle.
Oh, nice. So you
And
can
it's a
basically
hole.
syringe it straight into the marker.
Well, what you do is there are these holes at the top of the marker, and you take off the bottom, you fill up the little ink bulb, you insert it in, and you slowly squeeze it. One squeeze for a small marker like this. Then they've got these large, this is sort of like a medium-sized marker. And you can see that that's about
Wow.
half an inch. They actually have markers that are 2 inches wide for doing big swoops.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And
Sounds fun.
they come in a wide variety of colors, and they're numbered.
By wide variety, are we talking 10, 20, 50, 3,000?
50 or more.
That's pretty good.
There's a Neuland catalog around here. I think I was showing off the Neuland catalog last week. I didn't put it away.
Huh.
But there's a whole industry out there just to support graphic facilitation. And, of course, I got back into it right after I went ahead and dumped all my Pantone markers, thinking, I haven't used these things in 20 years. I'll never touch them again, and gave them all away. And
Pantone or Prismacolor?
Pantone.
Oh.
Pantone was back in the day, before there were computers, you would do a layout using Pantone colors because that would show your client the exact same color that you'd get on the printer if you had, say, okay, Pantone, this is what a 307 will look like with the text looking in a 408, and that type of thing.
Yeah, no, I can totally imagine that.
And they used to have Pantones that were skinny on one end, and the nibs were just at 12 points, and that was the most popular thing. So you could just do a quick little strike through with a 30% gray to represent what a 12-point font would look like. And it was so much easier just to do these felt marker comps and show them to your client and have your client sign off on those, and then for them to see the final printed piece, which was, in stone, because there was this huge production that had to be done between you and the typesetter and the production layout board.
Yeah, what we can do in like 30 minutes in Illustrator would have taken like 30 hours and 5 people.
Right. I remember walking into an agency back in the day and having this airbrush artist showing the art director a gradation that he did with the airbrush. And the art director was talking and said, no, I need the gradation to be, I want you to do this again, but I need it a little lighter here and a little deeper here, and can you make it a little bit more of a warmer color?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I'll bring one back tomorrow. You know, and that's the way how
A whole day spent making a gradation. You know, sometimes that still happens. I spent a full week last week making a gradation work because we had to make it gradate from multiple colors from the bottom of a baseboard of a wall up to the ceiling and have it fade out at specific spots. And I had to actually build the gradation from spot channels, which if anybody's tried to do that in Illustrator, doesn't work.
Huh.
So what I ended up doing was like making bitmap black and white gradations and then like slapping them into Illustrator and filling them with the spot channels and stacking them together like a ladder and praying. And it worked, and it looked lovely. It was so saturated, so I got the printer to actually do the saturated colors that way. But, oh my god, it took me like a week of experimenting to make it actually happen. Yay, now I gotta research flesh wounds.
Oh, sounds like fun.
Yeah, the character got a massive monster bite in the first page, so now I'm showing the bite, and I need to do some quick...
Lady and gents, I'm calling it a night. I will hopefully see y'all next week.
All right.
Yeah, let us know what time you want to do that early session, Pat.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds good. Talk to you later.
Night. When is the standard end time?
Standard end time is going to be in about 4 minutes at 8:30 because I want to go watch anime with my wife.
Nice. What you gonna watch?
Oh, we're watching at least two dozen different shows. We're watching the latest season of Wagneria, which is known as Working in Japan. Let's see, there's iLife. There's Life Zero, which is a little gruesome. There's I love watching the stupid teenage romance ones. Let's see.
Have you watched Haruhi yet?
Which one?
Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Haruhi Suzumiya, yeah.
I mean, the last time I recommended it to him, I forgot to warn him about the first episode.
The Melancholy of
Haruhi, Haharuhi.
Haruhi. Haruhi. Suzumiya.
Yeah.
Suzumiya.
Well, I'll see whether or not it's on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, and the thing I have to warn you about is if they do the first episode first, the first episode makes no sense whatsoever.
Oh, that's okay.
If he's an anime veteran, he's used to animes making no sense in the first episode.
We love animes that make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Like Fooly Cooly.
Fooly Cooly is the shit!
Yeah, no,
I don't know what.
Did you hear they're making a sequel series to that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, apparently Gainax announced that they're working on making like a long distant sequel series to it.
That sounds awesome. Yeah. But even by that standards, I still feel obligated to warn people about the first episode of Haruhi Suzumiya. Because it opens up as if occasionally, a lot of times people will just do it makes so little sense that a lot of people will pretend it doesn't exist and do the second episode first, which is technically the actual first episode.
Let's see. Yeah, I have to keep a list of all the movies, or rather all the anime that we have watched, because we've watched so much.
Yeah, let's see.
I mean, I'm really looking forward to this if they bring back Love Story. Because I absolutely loved Love Story.
Oh, I've watched like the first 6 episodes of that. That was really cute.
Oh man, it's great. It's great. My wife and I were laughing, and of course,
I haven't been able to get past the episode where he like kisses his friend with saran wrap over his friend's face. I I don't know. I felt very weirded out after that and haven't gotten back into the series since
Does it
then.
make more sense in context?
Yeah, but only slightly.
At the moment, I'm trying to finish Attack on Titan.
Oh yeah, my wife and I we loved Attack on Titan. That was fun.
Is that series actually done?
No, they're still working on another season.
That's what I thought.
It's not done.
I've heard there's been production drama, but it's known. I'm told it has a very good reputation as a good adaptation of the material.
It's 8:30.
And there we have the 8:30 bell, people. So with
Okay.
that, I'm going to say good night and sign off. I'll see everyone next week for another episode of Epic Sketch Time.
Okay.
Night.